Hey, Gutfoxx here. Welcome to the Muttmen Podcast 195, I believe it is, but I'm not good at counting so much, especially when it's past my two fingers. Today, fancy, we got Mills on screen. First video podcast guest ever for the Muttmen Podcast. Took us dang near 200 episodes. How does it feel to be the first?
The first? I mean, I learned how to count to 21, so I'm one better than you, I think. But I have gloves and shoes all for that.
Have you become rich off like blackjack because you can count 21?
No, thankfully, counting that fast when you're this old, it doesn't work. Like, my eyes don't follow cards that quickly anymore.
Yeah, that's why you got to get a rookie dealer, somebody that like doesn't know how to like put them out on the table, and you can kind of go, you know, just a lot easier to count when they're unable to count themselves. So, few things we got to talk about today, in my opinion. One, Season 3 playoff content, EA airs in mud. Talk about franchise, because you're really big into franchise, and you're really kind of closely tied into a lot of developers, not just in Madden, but MLB The Show. What other games have you like kind of like been with developers and talked to them and like, you know, helped? I'd say that kind of stuff.
I mean, at this point, I think a lot of people know I have a lot of ties with EA themselves. So the Madden team, I've helped out on NHL a long time ago. When NBA Live was around, I was kind of like background on that. SDS. Let's just go over the NDAs I have. EA, multiple. SDS, 2K multiple. So I was helping out with WWE 2K at one point, NBA 2K. Their PGA, I kind of bounce back and forth off of sometimes. I have an NDA with Square Enix because I helped them with Avengers at one point, and I'm still around that property, but like kind of other things that Square Enix reaches out to me for. I have an NDA with Ubisoft for some upcoming stuff, and for me personally, it stretches me thin. But I'm one of those guys that doesn't. I get bored real easy, so I like having a little hand and everything. So. I'm not the NBA Live guy, just so we're clear. I see that already. I'm throwing that out the way.
You are everywhere. You like being stretched thin. You like Mel Gibson at the end of Braveheart, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I've been in it since like right around 2000 with Operation Sports. Like I've been around sports gaming for forever. Like I remember meeting like Ian Cummings for the first time around Madden and talking about that. Going through multiple community managers through. God knows how many games at this point, dude. It's one of those things that it's a labor of love because I truly do. Even though I'm a content creator, I think we all want to get the bag at some point. I truly want to see games get better, and the way I do that is by giving feedback like that and being that connection between the community. Well,
the games get better by you get the bag by the games being better. The more people are interested in it, and then they're watching your stuff. So it's like it also helps out yourself that way too. And let me give background. Like Ian Cummins was the Madden lead gameplay guy. The kind of like the Clint, right? Or even he's more like Rex. Yeah. He's like the top of the Madden. Back through, was it 2010 or when did he leave?
It was, I think it's like 2009, 2010 because I remember like E3 in like the mid 2000s is where I met him. So like for the first time. Because remember, EA was a part of E3 for the longest time before they created EA Play. So, yeah, it was way back when young Mills was beardless and running astray.
So, it is funny about him because everybody hated Cummings by the end of his run at EA. He was like blamed for everything because at Madden sucked, right? Madden in his transition to the 360 and those consoles. Probably the worst Maddens of all time. 06, 07, 08 it got a little bit better. But it was very like small things. That's when Madden basically around that 08 period, that meme about it being the same game every year really started to appear and spread. And to be fair, a lot of it was in that era. That was like right prior to Mutt. Mutt was like 2010. It was like downloadable content, but. It is funny because we saw him and get hated by so much of the community on online message boards. Just people were disgusted by him. But then like. Circa 2017, 18, you start to see resurgence. Oh man, Madden was great during the Cummings era. They should bring him back. He was like, I was like, do you remember? Madden sucked. Madden literally started his downfall during his period, and it's been like showing there ever since, like the same lazy stuff year over year. So like, Mills, you've been through all of this. What would you say is to blame on why Madden just feels like, you know, that meme out there being the same thing year over year? Is EA lazy enough to not have enough people to bring in new innovations? Because in the end, this is an 11-11 sport. There's only so much you can change.
So I had a short conversation with Ryan McCaffrey on Twitter about this, and I think, and it can.
Can you explain who that is?
I'm sorry,
don't just name drops.
I apologize. That's he used to be the sports editor for IGN. Now he's higher up in IGN in terms of editing. And he's a big time sports gamer too. He loves sports games, and he looks at them from a more casual view when he does reviews. The 9-month cycle is just torture on sports video games. It's unfortunate because I don't think that'll ever change. One of the things I always thought was going to happen is go to that subscription-based. I thought EA Play was the start of subscription-based sports games, where there wouldn't be a release every year. It would be something that, you know, hey, major patches, you know, would happen monthly, quarterly, whatever you needed to do. And I think that's a better place for sports games. The problem is you get a 9-month cycle. There's only so much you could do. Look at like Call of Duty. Call of Duty is a yearly franchise, right? But the problem with Call of Duty is they're using different developers every single year. And I know Call of Duty still gets hate for what they do, but when you're looking at a AAA title that carries the license of the NFL, the license of NBA, the license of MLB, and you're giving developers 9 months to make massive changes, there's a reason the mainstream sees sports games as a quote-unquote roster update every year.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's a major pain point, but like if it's almost self-inflicted, right? Like
it is.
EA could give away Madden, EA could switch to that model, but are you trying to say like the NFL says you have to sell our game every year for a certain amount of money?
I think the sports licenses absolutely do. I don't think people know. I don't think a lot of people know this casually. I think you do, but like the NFL license costs EA more than 50% of their profit from the game.
Yeah,
like it's. And I think it's well more than that. So, and I think the NFL's control.
Yeah, what do you know the actual number? Because wasn't there like there was a news story about that? Did they ever release that or not?
I don't think they ever released it. I know that like it is. I know it's upwards. I know it's above 70%. That's what I know, and I don't know the exact number, but I know it is a significant number to purchase. They're paying the NFL for Madden. The NFL is not paying EA to make Madden. Like it's the same thing with NBA 2K. Like 2K is paying the NBA to be able to make NBA 2K. It's not the other way around. Sony the same way. Sony San Diego is paying Major League Baseball to make a Major League Baseball game. And it's, as much as I hate to say this, it's a major license, obviously. And Madden makes a ton of money. Please don't think I'm crying for billionaire dollars. I'm not. But at the same time, when you look at the budgets they set, they're all based around that. They're like the billionaires. EA's not going to throw money at Madden just because it's Madden. Like Madden makes money. That's the money they get to use. And if they're using a lot of that for the NFL license, there's only so much other stuff that can go around. Then you add on the 9-month piece. Like that is a real structure problem. And I think it's a structure problem across all sports games. It's why we're seeing the quality of sports games degrade yearly. MLB The Show had such problems this year. Like don't get me wrong, the Diamond Dynasty, I think we agree when it comes to card collector modes is pretty good. But like the gameplay took a major step back this year. It was never really updated. Like the features don't feel like they're getting updated. Dude, card collecting modes across sports games. What was the last major innovation in card collecting modes? Like Ultimate Team or My Team? There isn't.
Yeah, like it depends on what you consider major. I mean, like you consider different game modes like draft, but yeah, I mean that's kind of it. It's been a few years.
Yeah, and I think that's the real problem is because so you take money you're paying to the NFL one. Number two, you take the 9-month cycle, which I know I'm harping on. I will stop harping on it after this. And then you take there are people in every studio that are dedicated, loving video game makers. And then there are people that are just doing a job like in any other job in the world that are just coming to work, getting paid from 8 to 5 and walking back out the door. Like you take all three of those things, you put them together, like you're not getting any innovation in sports gaming anymore. It's literally just, hey, let's clean this up. Hey, let's make this look good. Hey, let's try to fix the bugs. And then what? There's nothing left. The last innovation I remember was Long Shot, and it got destroyed.
Yeah. I mean, like they had like Superstar KO.
Yeah.
The Yard was the copy paste of NBA's. So that not really necessarily like innovative. Is more copy things, but like along with that, like okay, somebody put in chat how much got paid. So it was $1 billion to the NFL and 500 million to the players during the time period. I think that was like from 2020 to 2026 or 27, something like that.
Yeah.
Is that the exclusivities license? So like a billion over 6 years is that's quite a bit. And
Yep.
the thing is like EA and also on that is they're spending like a lot of that money they make off of Madden, and instead of reinvesting it back into the product, they're just doing like stock buybacks and stuff, right? They $1 billion a year in stock buybacks because the CEO and his greedy ass wants to like be able to afford a new plane every year, so he wants the price to go up. But like the price isn't going up on their stock, which is the funniest thing. Like they're trying to manipulate it, but it's still not freaking working. So that also adds into it is like a lot of what they could reinvest and could make their game better with, they decide to manipulate their stock price with.
I agree, and that's a real issue right now. A real issue is what are they doing with? How are they helping these developers make better games? They're not. They're relying on the developers, and when the developers get tired of it, we've seen it happen millions of times. A developer will leave a sports game, go off to another game, and be highly successful there, be creatively open, be allowed to be a video game developer, and then they'll just cycle in another Zynga employee. I mean, am I wrong? Like that's what happens is you get these people that have that mindset of just, hey, let's get down, get to work, go forward, and then at 5 o'clock I'm gonna clock out and go home, which is fine. That's what they should do. I don't love crunch, don't get me wrong, but there's not a passion for it with some people. I know for a fact at Tobiron there is a number of people that have passion in their job. I also know for a fact at Tobiron, there's a number of people collecting a paycheck because that's what people do these days. Not these days. I'm not going to sound old, but there are people in every job that, sorry, get off my lawn, Fox.
Yeah, get off the lawn. Yeah.
So,
I mean, it makes sense, right? So like, how does I mean, I know we have no influence over it, but like, how would you fix this at EA? And there's some wild things in chat. Somebody just said, most of the dev team for Forza Horizon just left to start their own studio this week. Somebody said something crazy. 1.5 billion over 6 years is nothing to a company worth 35 billion. Yeah, but it's based off of Madden itself. It's not based off, you can't include their FIFA profits, which obviously go into the buyback. But like 1.5 billion is a lot of money. I mean, $35 billion company, that's everything in EA. So that's a terrible fucking statement by Twitch chat. Nice work, guys. But like, you're right about the people leaving. Yeah, and so like, how does EA fix this? How do they change what you're saying is going wrong?
They have to press innovation. I hate this, and it's not going to be easy because now if you press innovation, you're gonna take a loss at some point. To innovate, you have to take a step backwards, and I don't know that they have the room to do that. I really don't. Like, they would have to invest so many more people, and now the next innovation is going on down the hallway with NCAA in 2024. Now you've got something else they're trying to build at the same time. And don't get me wrong, like they hired people for that. They brought people in for that. They brought people over from Madden. I think we all know that at some point. Like, yeah. But that's the innovation. So now where does the Madden team get to do that? Because if they take a step back, the NFL is going to take a shot at them for sure.
Yeah, I think also with like Madden interior studios, probably there's a lot of like anchored in folks that have been there for 20 years or whatever, and then so like maybe those new like younger innovators, they were at Madden, they're running into this internal like pushback because people are generally lazy, right? They're collecting paychecks for a lot of people after being there for so long. Mm-hmm. So like we said, head coaches, they kind of get a little weary, you're not listening to it as much, but in the coaching world you fire them. In this world you kind of just keep them around and they keep doing their job. But my point is, maybe a lot of those innovators went from Madden, now they're over on NCAA, and that's what because that's what they see the future of their careers. Like a lot of maybe like their rising up and comers saw this huge opportunity to make this incredible game and advance their career due to it, right? Whereas like there's so many entrenched management positions and entrenched people at Madden, so maybe they lost a lot of those like more up and comers to NCAA also.
I think that's partially true. I know some of the people working on NCAA, and they're incredible people, incredible minds. But there are still some really incredible minds in Tobiron working on Madden, and they just don't get a chance to use that. I know this is an unpopular opinion, but there's some really freaking good developers in Tiburon. There are some very incredible game programmers, and there are some that left because they didn't get to use their skills to do things creatively. I can think of one right. I'm not going to name him by name, obviously, but I can think of one right now that works under Sony Santa Monica. I know for a fact that he went there and was his job was from here to here. Like, he's allowed to use his mind, he's allowed to create, he's allowed to do different things. Whereas, before he was straightforward. That's what he had to do. I think that's an EA culture problem. I really do. But I also think that's a sports gaming problem, because that problem isn't isolated to EA. I mean, if you look at NBA 2K My Team, it's never been more just, oh man, season 4 is starting this Friday. We're not excited for it. It's the same thing over and over. Like, Sony San Diego Studios was done content by like November this year. And we'll talk about the gameplay again. Like, the gameplay did not have a major update the entire year. Like,
because hitting was right where they wanted it to be, right? It's working as intended.
Right, it's working as intended. But also, there's also battles on that side, like there's authenticity to the game of baseball versus you're playing a head-to-head game where stick skills absolutely should matter. Like, there are things like you cannot have this many people talking about foul balls 3 feet outside of the strike zone and showing proof of that, and then it not be effective.
I agree with everything. Like, so it's interesting. So you're saying it's a lot of like bureaucracy at these places, but you're saying Sony does okay with it for somewhat, but other things they struggle on because they let this one person do it. You're saying they let them.
Sony Santa Monica.
Oh, which one we talk? Which one's SDS?
San Diego. San Diego does
Gotcha.
MLB. And again, there's that. Santa Monica works on a very large, specific IP, where a couple of them. Whereas San Diego has an MLB license that they're forced to go through at 9 months a year. Again, it's just one of those things that I don't know culture-wise if you could make mass innovation or even like one big innovation a year on a 9 month without taking a serious problem otherwise. And I know this is a really doom and gloom kind of like thought from me, but like I've watched it happen for 20 years, Foxy. Like, I don't know what the fix is.
Yeah, that's it. It's way too complicated to come up with something so black and white. You're right. There's so much of it. So like a few people in chat are putting some really interesting statements there. The best people working at NCA so NCA hired the revamped mod people. The NCA studio did.
I did not hear that specifically. I've heard rumors of that. I don't know if that's real, official, or just a rumor. But I do know those revamped people. If they did bring those revamped people on, oh my god! I don't know if you've seen the work they've done with some of the creators.
Seen a little bit of it, yeah.
Like Dimmu had like his school added in there. They've done beautiful work, not only with the graphics and the art and all that stuff, but also with the gameplay. They've had major gameplay changes in the coding of College Revamped, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. So somebody said, as a foreigner in another country, I find it incredible that a sport that racks in billions will only have one licensed product. Yeah, so like the NFL, what happened in 2005-ish era was they put out this thing saying, all right, you know how like NFL's got this is the pizza of the NFL, this is the official beer of the NFL, this is the official blank of the NFL, right? So what they did, because that was that Tagliboo at the time, I mean, just out of touch fucking people that don't understand it. They're like, well, we want an official video game of the NFL now too. And so we're going to open up the bidding to all these companies, and whoever gives us the most money or best proposal, they're going to get it, right? So it basically killed all the competition because they wanted everything being the official blank of the NFL instead of allowing like the winners and losers to sort themselves out. And that's kind of what happened. It's just a stupid NFL thing.
To move past that, there have been opportunities since then for 2K to jump back in the game, and they've declined. Up until
what do you mean by jump back in?
Like they've had opportunities at the license, at getting parts of the license. Until recently, where they're jumping back at the arcade license, they've actually declined to purchase the license because, again, let's talk about how much you have to pay the NFL. You better have a game ready to go, and games from like the ground up take 3 to 4 years to make. That's hello sports games, but you better have a game ready to go if you're going to get the license, because the license, you're paying for the license whether you're releasing the game or not. Like that's a major in, and 2K has had a couple of opportunities. They didn't want it. Like at the time, they did not want it. Even now, like they had, I'm almost certain this is a 99% thing for me. So 1% here, that they had a shot at the sim license too. Like EA, the NFL and EA didn't just go like, oh no, let's push them out. Otherwise, they'd have pushed them out of the whole thing. Like 2K doesn't want to have to pay that without having a game ready to go. And I know there's a lot of rose-colored glasses for like NFL 2K5. I still play 2K5 off stream at times. You ever play it just base level, like release on the original rosters? Like there are a lot of problems that it had too. And I think with how animation, you think how much we argue about animation based with Madden right now? 2K is highly animation based. We talk about the presentation, which is second to none. 2K's presentation is incredible.
Yeah.
Go play one game of NBA 2K and you'll see that. But you want to talk about how game physics and gameplay work? I don't know that I think people want 2K because it's not here. But I mean, I don't even know if 2K will ever jump in.
It's like a chicken and the egg thing where like you don't want to make the game without the license. You don't want to pay for the license without the game. Yeah, that's a tough situation.
Yep.
Unless you can get like a deal like 3 years ahead of time saying we'll buy it in 3. I guess you can sort that out with like contract language and everything. Yeah. And then you start work on it. Dang, that's a good point. I didn't think about with 2K because like, have you heard anything updated about like, is 2K coming out with a game then?
They have something. They have something on the horizon. They have put it under lock and key for just about everyone that I've talked to. Because I've tried, believe me, because I want to know, because I want to be involved with it if I can get a chance to. I am still of the ilk that it is going to be a mobile game. Like some kind of like super card or something like that, because it's arcade based. And I think we don't think about simulation. Like this game behind me, NFL Blitz, is super close to the simulation license, even if it's not 11 on 11. Like 7 on 7 can be argued simulation. So there are things that 2K might even be handcuffed on with the quote unquote simulation license. I think people thought it was 11 on 11. Okay, if we don't do that, we can have an arcade game, would be fine. I don't think that's the end of it. I think them putting players on the field is going to be a struggle.
Weird. So just players on the field. That's something I can see what you're saying there. Obviously all these things can be argued and it depends, you know, what the NFL wants, what, you know, is allowed based off the EA contract and what's simulation. I mean, that's something I didn't think about because I figured like non-11-11 would be like non-sim. Really good freaking point right there about the 2K. So I guess we'll see. One thing is, so you really tied into like the Madden devs and everything. Do you think did Pac Strike impact them at all?
The developers, no. I don't even think Pac Strike. I think Pac Strike opened their eyes to minimal things, and here's what I think it affected: the $100 bundles getting champions now. I think that came from that. I really do. The ability to have consistent coin packs, I don't think really helped because we still get one coin pack for most things. I think the training variety pack being around more now than it was in general last year. Because remember, we waited a long time for the TVB. Yeah. I think it being around more now, allowing people to work the economy and people who work the economy well to still roll in open packs without necessarily spending money. I think that may have come from that a little bit more, like the availability of that. But honestly, like what else has changed quality wise? It's still, they've fumbled multiple content releases. They've fumbled multiple server issues. Christmas was I stand by, Christmas was the worst MUT blunder in history.
Really? Why is that?
And to have it happen on Christmas when so many people are getting it, right? And now you have a ton of people with, and I don't fault these people at all. Bank error on the user favor, I'm all for. Listen, you keep what you get. But you have a ton of people that have huge coin stacks that are very, very obviously controlling some cards now. 1,000,000% are taking out cards one by one. You can watch MUT.gg and see it happen when you're looking for like a power-up piece that's like the 91 instead of like the 95. And see them just get wiped out all at once, then go back up 100K higher. there are people, and we're not even talking about franchise yet. This is just MUT. They had the presents go wrong. They had the present opening go live 3 hours early. Servers went down. There are people that are still locked out from MUT since Christmas. Like, that is a massive, massive thing. If any other game, can you imagine if Call of Duty had people locked out for more than a week? The stories that have gone around. But it's a sports game. It's a sports game. I'm telling you, because people see it as a mainstream. As a sports gamer, you are a second-class citizen. It's why at the Game Awards, what games win Game Awards every year? Racing games. You know why? Because Forza is made by Microsoft and Gran Turismo is made by Sony, and all of the sports, and that's the thing that people like to jump into because there's no buying, and it's different every year. So I don't remember. Do you remember another bigger MUT blunder than Christmas?
The problem is all these MUT blunders, they happen so often that I couldn't even tell you one apart from another unless somebody said, like, I couldn't, off the top of my head, there's been, we just get it, like, I expected it to fuck up, right? That's the thing is, like, I expect all these I expect tomorrow to be completely fucked up, too, with playoff and season 3, and I don't know, maybe they'll throw a patch on top of it, too, because they do that dumb stuff. So, like, Christmas messing up, like, obviously, like, the thing is, like, I think I've just gotten to a place where I expect more things to go wrong than right. And I don't like, I guess I want to circle back to your comment about Forza and racing games winning awards because of why? Because
that's people can jump into a racing game and like a Forza Horizon and have fun with it immediately. You know how hard it is for someone to jump into Madden these days and play it? That's the other
just
big
for
thing.
Ultra Team. I mean, you could still jump into like franchise or play now, right?
No, have you? All right, so let's take a casual gamer that's just like a football fan on Sundays, right?
Yeah.
However many Madden fans, there are infinitesimal more football fans, right?
Yeah.
Sit them down with Madden and see how long it takes them to go, I can't play this. Are you kidding me? Buttons all over the field. I want to throw the receiver on the right. I got buttons flying all over. My quarterback's got 4 different controls. If I want to scramble, I got to pull a trigger. I can't just run. Like, Madden, sports games in general, but let's talk about Madden, are one of the most difficult games to pick up and play out of anything. Fighting games, you can mash buttons in fighting games and be successful at lower levels. How in the world do you pass in Madden this year? Like, now freeform
don't you just turn it down? Don't you just turn down the difficulty also on Madden, and then you can do whatever you want?
But the controls are still incredibly difficult. That's what I mean. It's an actual functional issue with the mechanical side of things. It's like dribbling in 2K, running and trying to juke in Madden, trying to pass in Madden, like trying to learn what defenses you want to run at any time. Even on rookie level, you have playbooks that are pared down. Don't get me wrong, but like, what the hell is a cover 4? Wait, I got to put match on. What's a cover 3? Like, they don't explain any of this for a first-time user. Now, the people on this podcast, like, I want everyone to understand that we're the hardcore, but like that's the other big thing. So,
my counter to that is a couple things. Is which game is there? There's 2 games out there, but okay, name the 2 contenders for Game of the Year this year.
Game of the Year, was it God of War and Elden Ring, right?
Okay, now Elden Ring.
Yeah,
that's fucking hard.
Agreed.
And that's winning awards.
Yep.
So hard games are not bad.
No, I don't think it's bad at all. But like, if you went into Elden Ring, could you pick up Elden Ring and swing the sword?
I'm a god gamer. Of course, I can do whatever I want.
I watched you play some Elden Ring, so we're good with that. Yeah, but that's the thing. Is like easy to pick up, hard to learn is okay. Hard to pick up, hard to learn is where the problem is. And sports games in general are hard to pick up, hard to learn.
I've been playing this game since I was, freaking 6. And it wasn't hard. I mean, like, you pick it up, you pick a play, you press a button. I mean, I don't think that's, I don't know. I don't know that that's that difficult. I feel like you're trying to teach people a foreign language here. It's just picking up a controller and pressing buttons. If you play football, you understand football.
Yeah, no, I mean, and again, if you played football, I think there's something to having a football background. But if you ever I have like 3 nephews, okay, and one of them is finally old enough to be able to like play video games. We play Fortnite together. Okay. We play FIFA together. They love playing FIFA because they can just dribble the ball around. But like I put them on Madden, the youngest or the oldest one is 12, and he plays video games. He cranks 90s in Fortnite, which is the weirdest thing to me. And he makes fun of me for playing no build, just so we're clear. He picked up Madden and he's a huge Ravens fan. He goes, I don't like to play this. And I said, why? He said, I don't know what's going on. I said, well, let's try to learn some stuff. So we sat down for an hour and learned some stuff. And he was like, I mean, running the ball is fine, but like, how am I supposed to know when to throw the ball? And I do believe that there is sometimes you need to get over that curve by sitting down with it. But when it comes to sports fans are looking for the easiest point from A to B. I'm not talking about playing head to head. I'm talking about just playing against the computer and learning how to mechanically control everything. I don't think that I think there's room to teach the game in this game, and I think that's a big problem. I think NHL does a great job of it, honestly, with their on ice trainer. It's a lot of things on the screen at once, but I think their on ice trainer is the best teacher in sports games.
But their game's also the worst game in sports.
100%. No. That doesn't speak for how the quality of the game. The game is terrible, but I think their onboarding is a little bit better, and I wish they would do more.
I like.
It's tough. I know it's tough.
Madden. The thing is, like, Madden, it's got its, like, you know, what kind of game style do you want to play? Like, how experienced are you? And, like, you can just press buttons. You guys will catch through defenders on the lower difficulties.
I just think, and I know where you're coming from with this, because you also don't want to dumb down the top half of this, because I think competitive head-to-head Madden is one of the most interesting things to watch for me. It's like I literally watched back the Henry match from like the last MCS event like 3 or 4 times just to see what he's doing, like adjusting wise. I think the top end is very. I want that to stay hard. I don't want the game to be easier. I just want there to be an easier gate of entry for more people, not just like hardcore football fans.
So you're just talking about like the game in general, not MUT online gameplay.
No. MUT's going to be inherently hard. Any card collecting mode is going to be inherently hard to get into because there's an economy based on it. You got to have some kind of mind on that. Otherwise, you're either going to spend time or money. We always talk about the currency thing. So I'm not looking to get in MUT.
Here's the thing about that though. Like you say, it's a problem. But Madden was the 3rd highest selling game in the world. Mm-hmm. Or sorry, United States not the world. FIFA outsells in the world, but like 3rd highest selling game in the United States last year. I mean, that's a lot of casuals that get into it, and so like saying like they don't know how to play, I feels like kind of a cop out to like some of what Madden is. Like, oh, they don't press it. Like Madden's like when you put on the difficulty, like you can do that thing. I see what you're saying. It's hard, but like it already has the casual audience a lot of times, right? We complain. It's like. Maybe it's because we as content creators, we don't see the casuals as much because they literally treat it casual. They don't look at YouTube for a lot of things. They just play the game, maybe with their friends. They play an online franchise. They play franchise by themselves. Like, it feels like we already sell so many copies. And yes, obviously it could sell way more if it was just a better game. Yeah. Madden's problem is that everybody thinks it's fucking trash because of all of the overpowered mechanics. They play online like, oh, I played online. And then I went against these 2-play cheesers, and it's fucking trash, right? It's not like people aren't going like, "Oh, Madden's too hard." That's not the feedback that I see mostly. Yeah. And so I don't know. Like I'm not necessarily buying that it's hard to pick up, but like Elden Ring, like to go back to that. Sure, you can swing a sword, you can run the ball in Madden, but to advance in it, to play it at all, you're going to get murked over and over, and it's going to be hard to learn the controls. It's going to be hard to get timing down, your dodges. You're going to have to go online to figure out some things. They give you no prompts on where to go, so like people like wandering around. They get like the first, you step out into the main world, you face like a boss battle right away. And so like, yeah, at a certain point, sure, you can help the casuals, but at these Game Awards, Game of the Year. It sold incredibly well. Hey, thanks G-Mize for the raid. Appreciate that. That's huge. We're just having a podcast with Mills here for all the new arrivals, talking about Madden and its problems, like we always seem to. But like, here's the thing, okay? It's the word of mouth. That's the issue. Is everyone's like, oh, same game. Oh, it's trash. Like, people come up. G-Mize probably just watched him hate the game in his life.
Rage
but like, yeah. So like that's its main problem. Why it doesn't sell more? Elden Ring got incredible reviews, incredible word of mouth. So like when you say, hey, Madden needs to make it easier for casuals to get into, dude. You said cranking 40s, like or 90s, whatever the fuck your Fortnite nephew you said is doing. That's incredibly hard, mechanically hard. He had to go online and learn about that on a YouTube video, and so Madden's problem is not that the casuals aren't buying, aren't playing. Madden's problem is that once they do play, they get enough of it and they get sick of it.
Yeah. I can see that. I can see that. I also see, and I was looking it up because I knew the number. I just couldn't remember the exact number. That I don't know what their sales were this past year. I know it was in the tens. No, it was less than a. Where's the I'll worry about it later.
I feel like 8 million or so.
8 million. There's 184 million NFL fans. And that, for me, is a huge number of people that don't want to. And I'm not saying they're all gamers. Obviously, there's a gamer subset. I feel like 8 million is a small number, even when it's one of the top game sellers. I feel like that's a small number for the fact that there's 184 million NFL fans out there. Like, I really would love to see more people. I want Madden to be in more households. Madden should be not in the current state, just so we're clear. I agree with you there, that word of mouth and the way that things travel online, especially with all the problems it's having, are definitely one of the problems. It's one of the nice things about what you said about Elden Ring is how many major bugs does Elden Ring have?
It's got problems, but it's different because it's a single player. Like
right, exactly.
I said this before, not to intrude too long, but like in single player games and like the speedrunning community, glitches are like amazing for them.
Yeah, for sure.
In the multiplayer game community, we fucking hate it.
Yeah.
And it's like abusive and exploitive. So it's kind of like making dark beer versus light beer. Light beer, you get impurities in it. You're like, oh, wow, this shit is trash. Dark beer, yeah, go ahead and throw in all the extra goddamn yeast you want. It don't matter. People can't see it anyways. It's called flavor.
Yep, I really do think, but I do think that there's opportunities for Madden to be bigger than it is, and I think they shoot themselves in the foot. And I think, like I said, I'm going to stick with barrier of entry being one of the issues. I do agree with you that like the aura around it, and honestly, the self-inflicted wounds by the game itself are probably the bigger problem.
Yeah. So we're kind of on the same page there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just interesting to see it over and over, and you know, to be fair, a lot of those self-inflicted wounds, like Christmas and through the last few weeks, have been absolutely insane for the MUT gamer. For the franchise gamer, I'm sorry, dude. 60% of their goddamn franchise were lost if you logged into that time period. When I saw franchise, whenever I see an issue with franchise, because I know how MUT is, because I know how franchise is, because I know how EA is, I don't touch it, right? I got my Leuven Jink franchise that, for those that, you know, please sub to the franchise channel. Mills is killing it there. Him and Rowdy are just roasting me on a weekly basis there. But, like, okay, I know how trash EA is. And a lot of these casual games we talked about don't. So when I saw franchise was down, I'm not touching that menu mode for a second because I am hooked into the news. I am hooked into the community. So I know avoid at all costs. You see like other people, you know, that are hooked in. I don't think Bengal lost his franchise, but he's, you know, had, you know, other glitches, and everybody's had the same glitches with a draft revert bug. But like, so like some of us are hooked in. And yeah, obviously not everybody can be. And they're going to lose a lot of franchises. And that's awful. But for MUT, circling back to that, the last few weeks have been insane for us. The Christmas glitch, the present glitch, it made people tens, hundreds of millions of coins. We've had, I think, 4 separate loopholes, if not 5. I can't even name them off the top of my head. Like, I have to go back to my channel and just like look through all the things that have been patched, and that's not even including the things that got patched live on stream that I wasn't able to make a video about. We just yesterday lost the 84 plus loophole, and then the 90 to 91 upgrade pack was spitting out 93s and 96 limiteds. So, like, a lot of these things, just like the single player community, like, that's badass. When EA makes an error in our favor, I love it. The problem is they rarely come in our favor. They oftentimes go against us. But MUT, unless you've been locked out since Christmas, and I'm sorry for those people, that sucks, kind of insane the last few weeks is like, is it weird? Is it weird? I guess the question here it is. That MUT is the best it can be when EA is fucking up.
I think chaos is always fun. How about that? I think chaos is fun. I think
latter.
people love the idea of when things are going crazy, it gives us something to talk about. If we were just getting like good content, it would be okay. Content Tuesday, content Thursday, content Saturday. But when that Christmas thing was going off between what was like 6 and 8 on Christmas, like the community was wild. Like every Twitch stream you went to was just 94, 95, 94, 95. I think while I think that's good, I do think at the same time we're all laughing at EA, not with EA.
Oh yeah, totally.
And that's where the problem comes in. It's like you said, Christmas wasn't that big to you. You know why? Because you've come to expect it. We should not come to expect these problems to happen. At this point, it's a live service game that we're paying $70 for up front, but it's still a live service game throughout the year that they're not giving proper live service to. I really like if it was like an MMO, people would just lose subscription fees left and right. And that might be another reason they haven't gone to subscription fees either, because people real easy could just snap it off and cancel it. But you cannot continue. A bank error in the user's favor is always fun. But at the same time, it still puts that, yep, EA is going to mess something up. Hell, 10:30 every content drop morning. What's the first thing you're doing on stream?
Looking for loopholes.
Absolutely. And there are people in your chat looking for it too. And that 84 plus campus hero loophole, who talked about it publicly? You talked on stream, fine. Who put the video up? Who put the tweet up? Who put anything up about it?
Me?
At what point?
Oh, like, well, what do you mean? At what point?
At what point did you put it up? At like 4 a.m, right? Or like late at night, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And notice how the loophole stayed around for that long? I know that, and I'm not, by the way, I'm not faulting content creators for putting stuff up. They absolutely should 100% put stuff up and get the views on YouTube. That's not what I'm saying here. My problem is the quality assurance right now, the QA, is content creators.
Yeah. And the community.
That's and even when it's an error in the user's favor, that's a problem. Because when the content creators become the quality assurance, the company loses respect every single time that happens. And I'm not saying we should respect EA, but at the same time, you want to go into this game understanding and be like, hey, look, I should trust Mutt. I should be able to go into Mutt, not trust, but I should be able to go into Mutt and know it's going to work. And no one can say that right now. I should be able to go into franchise and know it's going to work. I should not have a 5-year. See, a lot of people didn't see this, but I play franchise offline too, off stream. I had a 5-year franchise that I lost in that. Jeez. And I had my own stories going. My stream franchise, the Commanders, worked fine, but my offline one was gone. And you know what's even worse? Though, not to branch off into franchise real quick, but we've got no communication since it happened. We don't know if the 40% are back or not. There are 32-man leagues out there that don't know if they should restart because no one said anything.
That's true.
Yeah, they put out the blog, right? 40 of the people that were affected, by the way, they were sure to make sure to include that. Of the people affected by this issue, by the way, that we caused by telling people it was okay to go back into franchise mode, Madden NFL Direct on that Wednesday said, everything's good, go back into your franchise mode. And the people that went in because of Madden NFL Direct are the ones that were affected. Biggest problem I have with this, by the way, quality assurance. Quality assurance, quality assurance. That happened. 40% of people are getting their franchise back. 60% of people are not. We don't know who the 40% are yet. The 40% don't know who they are yet. We've gotten literally zero communication about it. You know why? I don't. I wish I knew. I wish I knew at this point. It's not because it's not because of the low-level comms guys. Don't get me wrong. The comms guys aren't the problem. They're the ones that want to talk. It's because no one wants to say anything anymore because they know something's going to go wrong. That's the biggest problem right now. Transparency can't be transparency because you know you're going to mess it up.
Well said.
Drives me crazy. Yeah. Drives me insane.
Yeah, it was a good one. It's a good rant. That was very solid, and I agree with like everything. Like I can't can't really say anything about like so like. Why do you think like EA just doesn't give a fuck about QA then? Like why do they just feel like their model is working?
I don't know if it's don't give a crap about it or just don't have it. I don't know what the QA process. The one thing I don't know the QA process. I will say that straight up. I do know some of the QA people, but most of those people are gameplay people. And honestly, I mean, I think a lot of people. I know some people don't agree with this. I think gameplay's better than it's ever been. Big problems. Don't get me wrong. Their offensive line is atrocious, but like I think gameplay's as fun as it's ever been. We can talk about abilities until I'm blue in the face and how discounted abilities ruined a lot of things, but I think the gameplay is kind of cool. I'm cool with the gameplay right now.
Yeah. So yeah, because like, all right, circle back to Pac Strike. Like, I got a list of what I'd ask for in the next Pac Strike. Of them would be like, you know, what are the actual odds on the limiteds for packs and stuff. But like the A1 number one spot would be double the size of your QA department. Like, pay those people more, something like that. Because during this last Pac Strike, as you saw with like the first demands, there was nothing on there about you know, make this game like less buggy, because like I don't think we can actually expect them to fulfill that, right? Like EA keeps talking about, you know, certain things changing and then they never do, right? It's like a bad boyfriend, and it's like, hey babe, we do this, yeah, sure, got it. And then you come home from work and the dishes ain't done, and you're like, didn't I ask you that? Oh yeah, I got it. Just let me finish up this game. And then like they're playing like an MMO and the game never finishes. So like, it's the feel like, dog. They make all these promises. They like say it's gonna be better, but in the end, those dishes are staying in the sink and they're gonna keep soaking.
Yep. And then that's the biggest problem is they haven't. If they haven't upgraded quality assurance by now, why would they?
Yeah.
That it sucks. I saw somebody in chat say something about EA Help. Like, have you ever gone to EA Help for anything? I've gone to EA Help on 4 occasions this year for missing content. All 4 occasions, they were completely clueless. And it's because EA Help's not connected to Madden. EA Help's their own department, and unless Madden tells them something, EA Help has no idea. EA Help has no idea. They're just trying to, and it sucks because we're always told, send people to EA Help. You know, if you get banned, do this. No, we got some people sending people to field goal, or I've helped a couple of people now because I've been trying to send names over because God only knows who else is, you know, every time somebody tries to reach out, they get attacked in the community. So it drives me crazy that right now we don't have communication, we don't have quality assurance, we don't have any faith in anything coming from Mutt. This should be one of the most fun games in the market. It's goddamn NFL football. It is the easiest thing in the world to sell. Okay? Hi.
Yeah.
You know that thing you watch on Sundays and has 180 million fans? We'll let you play it. But it just constantly screws up, and that's what drives me insane. That's why I get frustrated. That's why I rant on Twitter, even though I swore I wasn't going to rant anymore. That's why I run my mouth like I do. Because I want better sports video games. I want Madden to be better. I want things to be better, and I just drives me crazy that it's not.
Overall, it feels like a management problem for EA more than anything. I
agree.
Like all these like low level, like, you know, EA Help, you talk about problems with, QA, you talk about problems with. These are all employees. These are all a part of the organization, and the organization itself just feels like from the top down a lack of like dedication and care towards these things, because they're still making money, and we want it to be better because we could see they're leaving tons of money on the table, but like they're like, you know what? I got paid, right? The CEO is still making his 20 million plus a year, still getting his stock options, and it's still happening. It's like, why would he care? Why would the same C-suite? Why would the middle managers that, like you say, check in, check out, get that stuff? So it is, yeah, a fundamental top-down problem, and the lack of everything there kind of shows up to us as players quite frequently. And the thing is also, man, the chat's got such great like comments. I just want to like, you know, respond to so many of them.
Yeah.
But we'll circle back around in chat. There's people are making such good points. But basically, like, okay, now my question to you is there any game company that does it right? non-single player.
Wow, From Software. From Software is a big one.
What does From Software make?
From Software is making the upcoming Armored Core remake, and they've done a few things really. Let me get you the list real quick, because that was one of the reasons. As soon as I saw that they were doing something, it was like, oh, okay, that's what I want. Now, I think Elden Ring is From Software, right? Yeah, let me see here. Yep, Armored Core.
That's a single player.
Armored Core. Yeah, they're mostly a single player. Sekiro. I forgot about Sekiro. Sekiro was from there too.
Single player games also, right?
And I think honestly the
non-single player games.
The companies that do it the best now, I mean, Rocket League. Rocket League.
True. Wasn't Rocket League? I got a question about that. Wasn't that game company? They were gonna make another game, and then a developer just randomly made Rocket League, and and it became addictive, and that's what they came out with their.
Yeah, Rocket League was an accident. Yeah.
Yeah, it was an accident.
Yep.
It's kind of like Apples to Apples. Apples to Apples was designed as a part of the part of a bigger game, and then they started playing this bigger game, and then they were having so much fun with Apples to Apples. Like, why don't we just make this the game?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, so it's funny how that happens.
I will bring something up here too. Is they're bringing up Epic Games for like Fortnite.
That's true. Epic. That's a good point.
Yeah, Epic. I think Epic does a great job because they essentially have said, "Listen, we're not going to sell anything that gives you any kind of competitive advantage." But we've crossed over with so many IPs that you're gonna look. I go back to Fortnite every time I see a new comic skin in the game. Hulk is back. I'm in. Ash from Evil Dead is in. I'm back in Fortnite. You know what? I need that skin. No matter how often I play, I need that because it's so cool. And I don't have a problem giving money to Epic Games because they're kind of awesome, like in what they've done. I'll never forgive them for getting rid of Save the World. That being said, because I was a founder on Save the World mode, but I understand.
Yeah, because their BR did so well for them. But like the thing also about Epic. I will say that they got into a lot of hot water because like they were treating their employees really rough, like really overworking them and stuff. Whereas EA, they used to be that way, right? In EA's heyday, they overworked the shit out of their employees. They got sued by, I think it was called like the Wives of EA, and I don't know what happened. They ended up changing. So like apparently their employees are super babied now. So like EA is actually a really good game company to work for. The problem is the player base, because they're all just like 9-to-5ers. They check out. They don't look at their anything. They're having like good lives, so like it's worse for us because they don't care as much, because they're not like worked to the bone. What do you got to say about that?
I'm never gonna be somebody that's like, hey, you need to crunch. I respect and will always respect developers having a home life and a work life. And when I say people cashing checks, because I know this is going to get like misconstrued a little bit. When I see people cashing checks, I'm talking about people that are just going there and just being mindless, not actually working. I want people to be able to clock out at the end of the day and be able to walk home and leave stuff on the table, but still have passion while you're at work. And I honestly think not crunching people makes more passion. It allows you to be more passionate.
What I'm hearing is Mills is anti-worker, anti-union, pro-bourgeoisie. Yes.
I'm pro Andrew Wilson.
There you go. Big simp for the CEO there.
Yeah, clip it, ship it.
Less stock buybacks, hire more people. I mean, that seems like the simple solution is to like invest more into your own product. Like you talk briefly about EA Play being like what could potentially be like the future of EA, and like. Dog, they are so like I can't believe they fumbled this bag so hard.
Yeah.
EA had literally like the Netflix, like right? They copied Netflix. They had that idea. They had that whole thing going for them. You subscribe to this service, we bring out these games, we have these games, it's free on EA Play. And they had it for years before Xbox did their thing, and everybody loves Xbox's what's it called?
Game Pass.
Game Pass. Yeah, Game Pass. They fucking love it because it's like Netflix for video games.
Mm-hmm.
And EA, they had this. But then what did those morons do? They still charge you $60, $70 for their premier games. They could have absolutely killed it if EA Play $5 a month and it included everything. They would have had so many fucking subscribers and people doing that, and then like forgetting to unsubscribe during the summer months when they don't want to play their games, because I do that. And so like they fumbled. They absolutely fumbled. They could have been the Netflix. They could have been such a big company, but they're stupid.
And they
didn't.
They were, remember? EA Play Pro on PC was $120 a year or $10 a month, and you got all the games for free.
Right.
They did that on PC because they had to compete with Steam. There's nothing on console they have to compete with. So at some point when EA Play came out on console, we were all like, oh, this is going to be amazing. We're going to get a yearly fee and we're going to be able to just get the games. And it never happened because they realized, who are we competing with? There's no comp. There's no comp. And I'm not talking about like sports game competition. I'm talking about like video game competition. There's no competition on video games for doing that. That's why when a game, like when an indie game gets signed by Game Pass, it's a major thing for them because it's going to get put in front of so many more eyes. Like,
Yeah.
Madden doesn't have to worry about that. Like, Madden's already in front of a bunch of eyes. It just goes free to play around Super Bowl. So
Yeah, it should be free to play in like a month or so.
yeah,
I don't know.
February-ish.
Yeah.
It's
I
normally
was
either Super
told-
Bowl weekend or right after the Super Bowl weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, anyways. So, I don't know. It's overall a little frustrating to see so many lost opportunities. And do you think, like, EA just plays it safe? It's always felt like all the decisions are always, they're just corporate decisions. That's what it
Agreed.
feels like to me. Like just like all around, like not necessarily corporate, but like designed by group almost.
No innovation.
Yes.
I'd say that's I will stick to that till I am blue in the face with every single sports game. Until you decide it's time to innovate. Now, whether that innovate means new modes, innovate means new features that are different than something, not just adjusted pieces. Until you've decided to innovate, you will be in the same, you'll be treading water for as long as you want. If that's what you want to do, a higher ups at EA, because it's not the developers, if that's what you want to do and you just want to keep making money the way you are, fine. But the sports games will do the same thing that WWE 2K did. Eventually it'll downgrade slowly, iteration over iteration, until you're forced to take a year off because you are so laughed at for how bad your game is and how bad your game messed up that you are forced to take a year off. And then that's when you'll see change happen. I don't know if it'll even happen in our lifetime, honestly, Fox. But that's what happened. That's what happened in WWE 2K, and I truly believe that's the only thing that will change is if one of these games breaks so badly that it literally requires refunds.
Yeah. Yeah, like, and why? So you were a part of that, right? You said you gave feedback. What isn't it like their entire team like quit or something on the wrestling, if I recall correctly?
So that was before I came in, but I can tell you what happened. Ukes left. Yeah, so it was Visual Concepts, Ukes, and 2K. I think it was Ukes and 2K were all making the game. They were mid-cycle, and the main game developer left, 2K and Visual Concepts. So they were left on their own to finish the game. And it came out and was, I mean, it legit would just crash at the loading screen. There were some people that never got a chance to play it because it crashed so often. And they had to give refunds. I don't know if everyone knew that. It was kind of like under the carpet, but like they had to give refunds to a ton of people. Oh no, Ukes is working on AEW. It was somebody else. Oh, Ukes had the dev code. Thank you, chat. I'm sorry, I was reading chat there for a second. So they left. And then they had to take a year off. And they didn't say anything right away either. Like, release time came up and like, okay, this game won't be released 10. We're releasing WWE 2K22 next year. We're committed to. They did the Sean Grady. You know what I mean? We're committed to you. We're committed to making things better. We're gonna make a better game. We're gonna make a cleaner game. It's okay. And then they put it out. And honestly, it wasn't. It's not a bad game now. It's still pretty. It still has some bugs, but like it's still pretty. It's a pretty fun game. That taking the year off, I think, really helped it.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people like do like the Royal Rumble. It's like you can like customize characters. I see people like I see like Moon do it with like random characters like from Dragon Ball Z and stuff. And so it is kind of like enjoyable to see like random like weird creations, kind of like Spore had their weird ass creations way back in the day. That's an old game that didn't fulfill its promises, but yeah, I guess I mean like. Why do you think EA has resisted going to the multiple studio approach then?
I think they're okay with how it is. I really do.
Yeah.
I don't think they want to make a major change. They're worried that rocking the boat will capsize it. And they're making money. Like they're still
Yeah,
paying a ton to the
a ton of it.
NFL.
Yeah.
I don't think they have a chance. Like I think this is me. This is theorizing. I'm not. This is not me with inside knowledge. I'm theorizing that their threshold is small enough that they're worried that if they tilt the boat too far, they're not going to be able to fix it. And you're gonna take on too much water, meaning the money threshold, the money that they're putting out to the NFL, the money that they're putting out for development, all that stuff, and the money they're getting in for Madden specifically. I think that budget threshold, I think they're super worried about tilting it too far and making that too close.
I can see that. Why do you think they've let mobile die? And Madden, it was like one of the biggest goddamn fucking like I don't know if you have any insights. Did you ever talk to the Madden mobile team?
Briefly, I know some of the people that used to work on it. It's still going. I know that's not like, I know that.
Well, yeah, I know it's still going, but like back in like Madden 15, 16, 17, it was massive, like top 5, top 10 app in the entire world. And then they, got rid of coin packs. They got rid of the auction house. They got rid of so much what made, Ultimate Team Mode or mobile. And now it's just like, give us money and we'll give you a higher overall card for that money. And so, like, they killed off a lot of the player base because people didn't generally just want that. So, like, they've killed already one project of theirs, and it doesn't seem like they care. And so, like, they can do it again. But, like, why haven't they taken time off for mobile and done that exact same thing?
I think having to develop another game, because there is gameplay on mobile, obviously. The continuous development of it. And, again, I mean, maybe they're not making as much money in this. Again, theory, I don't deal with mobile anywhere near as much. But the other part of that is, remember, Apple and Google are taking cuts out of mobile now, where they weren't before. They're taking major cuts out of every purchase. So if you take that money and pull it back, and maybe mobile wasn't making as much money as they had hoped it was, because that's what it always is. Like NBA Live was the same way. They were really high on NBA Live. They had like a 5-year plan for NBA Live when it came back, and it just didn't make enough money back. So they were like, okay, we just need to move on from it. So it's just like,
so why'd they hire those losers on Madden then?
So. Remember the people that came over. Now, I'm not saying all of them. Some of the developers that came over from NBA Live are really good. The actual game developers. When it comes to the people that are heading over, like the NBA Live, I guess not economy, because they're
producer.
Yeah, maybe the producers. I don't know. If they were still impressed with how he handled himself, and he or she or whoever they were, I think the NBA Live guy you've referred to all the time, I think there was more employees than just that. So I can't speak for why he was hired, but I mean, he obviously didn't just get moved. He had to apply for where he's at. There's no side move. Just so it's clear, there's no side movement in EA. Like, you have to apply from position to position.
I mean, So yeah, I think I heard a lot of the NBA Live team just got shifted over to Madden too for a lot of it. Somebody asked me what's up with the plants. It's because the ferns are between us instead of the other way around.
Is this a Zach Galifianakis like shot at me? Because I am not impressed.
No, I wasn't. Somebody told me this should be like between two ferns, but since we're innovative, we're outside of two ferns. Much more innovative than EA, right? We're outside. Anyways, so I don't know. Overall, like, there's been a lot of doom and gloom, and Madden it's gonna be the same thing over and over. But like, in the end, like you said, gameplay is better in 23. So do you think because we bullied them so much on how awful this game's been for so much, like the gameplay devs are actually like getting together? Like, how much faith do you think? Like, generally January's patch is the last good patch of the whole year where they actually change things. Mm-hmm. How much faith do you have for our next patch?
I'm maintaining faith in gameplay because I think they've tried to at least tried to attack issues. I know loot blitzing is back, but they had made an attempt. I think offensive line play was one of those things they attempted to fix, and I think offensive line play is better now. That was a low bar, so I'm not sure that's really fair. I think the gameplay team has, because this is a third year. Was it third year next gen? I think it is. I think it's third year next gen. So that's normally when you see gameplay on all games. get way better.
21, 22, 23. So next year will be fourth.
Yeah, so I think this being the third year on next gen, I think they're finally getting their feet, solidly where they want it to be. That being said, I don't think the gameplay really takes the next step up until they get rid of last gen. Because there is still people that have to worry about last gen. Even though it's mostly unchanged, like there are people that still have to fix things on last gen. I don't know why they didn't fix the field goal glitch yet, but there are still people that have to work on last gen. I have more faith in the gameplay team than I have in anybody else at that team at that company right now.
Wow, that's insane with how bad gameplay's been. But with that, so are they? Two questions here. Is old gen gonna have a game next year?
Don't know. My guess is probably yes, only because stock of the console, even though I believe stock of the console, you could still get them pretty easily as of fall. Because game cycle starts and the game cycle is kind of decided a couple months before the game comes out. I think it comes out next year. I feel like PC moves to next gen next year. But I do think we still get a last gen game next year, but I think not next year will be the last one.
So that was my other question is like, do you actually think they're going to continue development on PC?
I do. I think Madden and FIFA are both slotted and staying on PC. I don't think we'll see NHL move up there, and I don't think you'll see any other like sports properties, if they're doing anything else, move up there. But I do think there is a niche enough like group that if they move it up to next gen, they're hoping to expand the audience. Like FIFA did. Like, because FIFA went to next gen this year on PC, and apparently it went well. So, we'll see.
Yeah, because I don't know, because like generally sports games are thought of as just console games and like console casuals and stuff. But like, do you think we're gonna go? So if they bring PC on next gen, are we getting cross console and Are we getting crossplay for everything?
I would think, again, I think that we get crossplay. I think PC doesn't get involved in the crossplay. Specifically because I think controls, like I think they still have keyboard controls on that. I don't think the PC ever crosses over into the console range. And that's unfortunate because the PC's auction house is incredibly inflated due to it. I do think at some point we get Xbox, PlayStation cross-gen, and that might be in 24. It might be in 25, but I think that's coming sooner rather than later.
So what is your dream then? What are your favorite things to come to? What would you hope comes to 24? Like a bigger QA team? Like I've always said, formation subs and custom audibles. Are you going to use that? No,
I would. Oh, absolutely. I would use custom audibles and formation subs because I mean now I'm.
No, I mean for your answer. Were you going to use that for your answer? And I just stole it from you?
Custom audibles. I would like to see more franchise. For me, obviously being a franchise guy, I'd love to see more franchise focus on things like more around the trade system, because I think trades are becoming more popular in the NFL these days. I'd love to see some kind of morale and team chemistry that actually affects things on the field, not just your training off the field. I would love to see like all of that. I want to be able to make harder decisions when I want to sign somebody. I don't just want to be, hey, look, high overall. Come on. I love the fact they added mentor tags this year because I think they actually have an effect long term in franchise. I would love to see, again, just more of that stuff. I'd love to see the CPU AI, and I know, again, chat, I know most of you are going to hate me for this because I like playing the CPU. All right, I love telling stories via single-player franchise. I'd like to see the CPU team build better more than 1 year because right now they're focused on the next year and they're not focused on building a team. They're not focused on a scheme. They're just signing high overall players as they go, or the tags help that. I'd love to see them take more of a franchise dynasty approach. So we see like somebody hire an air raid coach and then all of a sudden that team starts putting pieces into play for like the next year or two. And those are things you can see. And lastly, but not least, and you're going to hate this one, Fox. I want the franchise to be about the league, and I want the superstar league to revolve around me. I want a superstar mode that is viable, fun to play, and I want it to be the centerpiece of the game because I think superstar mode is the one thing that will bring everybody in. Before
I move on to the superstar mode, I just want to say this idea I just thought about. You know, what'd be kind of cool is to have players have their own social media using like Chat GPT and like have that kind of like be put out in the in the game. That'd be kind of neat to like move into AI and stuff.
2K does something like that now. I don't know if you've played like the My NBA there, but like they have a social media feed of not only reporters but like social media influencers and players that react to like if you put them on a trade offer and you look for a trade offer for them, they actually take a lower like morale. So I think it's cool.
So wait, oh, that actually works right. That actually happens right now.
Yeah, in 2K, and it's not a Chat GPT.
Oh,
obviously.
2K.
I think it's awesome. But yeah, over in 2K, there's actually a complete social media feed that does that, and it reports news. It reports
that's kind of cool.
Player personnel and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, it's a good.
If people don't know why I was laughing there, it's because somebody in chat said that I deleted their comment and then said it was my own idea.
I mean, come on, isn't that what we all do? Listen, chat.
It's mine now.
Chat has an idea. I tweet it out, and it never happened.
Yeah, it's like it never existed. Yeah, Twitch is not forever. I love all those like in-depth things. Like so, like okay. So the thing is, you talk about superstar mode, and chat's like Fox is dying inside listening to this. And the thing about superstar mode is, I'm fine. I like superstar mode. I don't like this on the rails bullshit story that they tell. That's like, dude, if I want to watch a movie, I'll go to the fucking movies. Okay,
agreed.
Like. Single player video games that are all based around the story, like they fucking died, like you know that Walking Dead franchise or whatever, like that. It just didn't work. It just didn't sell. So like I don't know why Madden felt like they, after seeing how bad it was, wanted to keep going with it. Right? I can see the innovation. I like that. I like trying out new things. I think that's a major W. But I'm seeing how horrible it was, how bad they are at making these stories. They should have moved into what you just said, which is somebody making up their own storylines. And then basically you can have different things around it, different events happen like we have in like franchise, like, you know, different like superstar development breakouts, different news stories, that kind of stuff. Island Park Baseball does a good job of like putting in like, oh, this person got into a fight with a teammate. This thing's like online career, I like it, and especially with the NCAA thing. Now you can take somebody through NCAA's their player career mode, bring them to the Madden player career mode, and then keep going with that like you used to back in the day. That's a major W in my opinion. But the issue is like these on the rail storylines, and the storylines are like bland as hell here, right? Like I said, like, why don't you just rip it out the headline like Law and Order, right? Take Andrew Villanueva. He used to be a Marine, and then he came into the NFL, switched tight end, and tackle. He was really good for the Steelers for a few years. Like, you could do something similar to that, like, right? You can do like a throwback. You do Rocky Blyer coming back from Vietnam and the injuries sustained, and then playing in the NFL and doing really well. And those are just Steelers I'm giving examples of. There's plenty of other examples of like people that have like legitimately fascinating stories that you can tell through the history of the NFL. Like, dude, if they really want to get wild, they could have brought in, like, they could have worked in Battlefield gameplay. Like, you're like Andrew Villanueva, like over there, like popping off people's heads for a little bit, and then you got to readjust to life back, and like you can tell a storyline around that, like, because that's like some major adjustment in life. So I don't know. It feels, and then they're like, oh, you want to know the problems you're facing. So, like, this year, instead of, like, going through the draft, you weren't, like, really drafted high, and you're going for your second contract. And we don't know if you're going to be good on your second contract. Oh, my God. Seriously. Strangle me out. It's so boring. I would rather die than live through that. Like, dude, they could make these so much better just by doing the little bit of research and telling players stories. And, like, being like, wow, that actually happened in the NFL? Like, they could do bagging groceries like Kurt Warner. Yeah, they have like a grocery bagging mini game that you gotta get through. There's so many things out there, and like inspirational stories about what happened. And they choose to like, let's make our own story. And then like, but this year it's with Rob Schneider.
You can let players make the stories and upload them.
Yeah. There you go too.
I don't know if you watch this or not. I'm going to make a quick analogy. Is that to one of my favorite shows about the video game industry right now? And it's Mythic Quest on Apple Plus. A lot of people
don't spoil anything. I haven't seen it.
No, I'm not gonna ruin anything for you because it's like season 3. So but it is a fantastic show. If you actually want to know, with more of a funny candor about it, about how the industry works, it does a great job kind of making fun of the industry. And the first time you see the community manager, I want you to think of Kralo. Just so we're clear. Dead serious. You will laugh when you see it. Okay.
Really.
But that being said, okay. they do this thing where they're making a game, right? And from it, they take the tools of the game and they put it out as like a beta, right? Then users that are playing the beta end up using the tools they put out to make their own content. That's the best storytelling that you can ever do for a player.
Yeah.
Give them the tools to tell the story, let them tell their own story, and then let them upload that storyline and be like, hey, you want to play through what I just did? Here's all the options. Here NBA 2K does this so well because you can put all the options together and you can put a timeline together on NBA 2K now and upload it as like a theater or like a piece that say, hey, here's your starting point. And here's all the things we've done. Here's what I've done to the league already, right? Just give players the tools to make that. One of the best things about NCAA was the fact that you let players create rosters and then upload them. Or it's called, the show is called Mythic Quest. I saw some people in the chat. It's on Apple Plus, the best $6 a month I spend because it's an incredible service. But yeah, it's so awesome to let players tell their own stories. For a single player, that's one of the best things about Elden Ring. Like Elden Ring, everyone can take Elden Ring in different ways. You don't have to face the bosses all the same way. You could take so many different paths in Elden Ring and you tell your own story. Kaleidoscope on Netflix. We talked about this before. Everybody's getting their own story, even though they're telling the narrative, because people are watching it in random orders. And they're actually calling, like, there's a Quentin Tarantino way to watch it. Like, that makes it feel like a Tarantino movie. There's a chronological way. That's the future of single player gaming, is that letting people tell their own stories, give them the tools, and then go like that. If Madden finds a way to do that, their franchise and their superstar will take off. Do I think they can do that? Do I think they're gonna have the opportunity to do that? But I think that's the way they should do that. I honestly believe that is how I would take franchise, and I wouldn't worry about writing stuff into franchise. I'd let people do it. I'd let people create their own content. And yes, some people are gonna be like, fake girlfriend at 10, and then okay,
what,
dude?
I know that franchise,
dude. Seriously, your franchise. What makes your franchise great? Is it you playing the computer and the gameplay? No, it's the storylines you tell. You've decided to make storylines. The wheel is incredible because now you're having obstacles you have to overcome. You are doing things that make your franchise interesting with the tools you have. EA needs to give more goddamn tools.
Yeah.
Imagine if you could do all that in game.
That'd be kind of cool.
Right? That's what I mean.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm right there with you. The story is what keeps people coming back to.
Right.
So many things like shit. Like it's all relevant. So, and allowing people their own creativity. That's why Roblox does so well, because people make their own games and then people play those games. And so I 100% agree, dude. This podcast, major W. I think I'm gonna wrap it up now, though.
Sure.
And any final words for the peeps before you go, Mills? Like any inspirational or thoughtful? No, I don't know about inspirational, but like anything at all. Any last words?
Two things. Number one, if you're on social media, never stop being vocal. I know that some of you all have like 2 followers on social media, and your picture is some butthole, and it is what it is. But they see all of them, okay? They see every one of those.
They see all of our buttholes?
I promise you, every butthole, they see every single butthole. As a matter of fact, it's funnier when they see buttholes. There are social media reports that are given to higher-ups every single day. Whether they do anything about it, it's so be it, okay? I'm not saying they do something about it, but they absolutely hear every single one of your voices, okay? Content creators all the way down to the 10 followers. I'm not kidding you. If you have certain keywords like Madden in your tweet, they get a report and see it. Please don't ever stop trying. I know there's a lot of us, especially in the franchise community, that have just gotten to the point where we're numb and don't think it's going to do anything. It does something. I promise you it does. Reach out to content creators if you feel like you want to do that. Let them speak for you, but don't stop fighting, okay? Whatever you do, don't stop fighting.
Sorry, I'm laughing out because what Twitch chat is saying. Sir, 9 buttholes have said our game is trash today. Oh no. At least we haven't hit double-digit buttholes.
Everybody change your profile picture to buttholes and start tweeting about Madden.
The buttholes have spoken. They're not digesting this well. Anyways, go on. All right, second thing.
One last thing. If you're a franchise content creator, stop playing goddamn games on your streams. Stop sitting there with your head in the clouds playing games. Tell stories. Go watch Lou Von Fink. Go watch Lou Von Fink on Fox's fake YouTube. Okay?
Woo!
All right, go watch Lou Von Fink. The Chinese finger trap is real.
That was... Oh my god, I couldn't help but laugh. That shit was so funny. You and Roddy are killing it. I really appreciate you guys.
We have so much fun doing that, yeah.
Yeah, that was great. Hey Mills, that was like, yeah, that was so enjoyable. You're just like a fountain of knowledge. I really appreciate you coming on to this. We got to do it again sometime, like, cause that, yeah, it was so good seeing the perspective. Cause like as we talked about at the top of the show, you've been doing this and you've been you got NDAs with like every single game studio in the entire world, and like so. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much.
Anytime, brother. Anytime, man. Thank you so much for what you do. And don't ever, like for you, don't ever stop doing what you do too.
Oh shit!
Because you literally do.
My recording I just hit max capacity on my hard drive.
Let's go!
Oh god.
Let's go!
Oh no! Please tell me the recording got taken. All right, well, podcast is over.
Break his hard drive.
Bullshit story that they tell. That's like, dude. If I no! Wait, how long are we broke?
We've been like 2 hours, dude. It's been a while.
Oh, I lost. I'll take the VOD or something.
Get the VOD. All right, you're fine.
Oh yeah, I got the VOD. Well, anyways, thank you very much. I'll see you around.
Fox's chat, I love you. Don't ban me, Roboto. I hate you.
We all secretly do. Hate that guy. We hate that guy. All right, that's been Between Two Studs with 2 Ferns. Take it easy, Mills.
See you, brother.